Close your eyes and imagine a place where every meal feels like a masterpiece. Every street corner reveals 1,000 years of history, and every sunset paints the sky in colors that no camera can truly capture. A place where gondolas glide through candlelit canals, where the ruins of an empire that once ruled the world still stand in breathtaking silence, and where pastel-colored villages cling to cliffs above a sea so blue it hurts to look at. This isn't a dream. This is Italy. And it is, without question, one of the most beautiful countries on earth. These are the top 10 places you need to visit. Coming in at number 10, we begin on the shores of one of Europe's most stunning natural wonders, Lake Como. Nestled at the foot of the Alps in northern Italy, Lake Como has been a retreat for the rich and famous for centuries, and one look at it tells you why. The lake is shaped like an inverted Y, with deep blue water surrounded by steep, lush green mountains, and lined with elegant villas, manicured gardens, and charming lakeside villages. The town of Bellagio, perched on the point where the lake's 3 branches meet, is often called the prettiest town in Italy. Its narrow, winding streets are filled with boutique shops, flower-draped balconies, and waterfront cafes where you can sit and watch the ferries cross the lake against a backdrop of snow-capped alpine peaks. Lake Como is also famous for its connection to Hollywood. George Clooney's Villa Oleandra sits along its shores. Whether you explore it by ferry, by foot, or by simply sitting at a cafe and taking it all in, Lake Como is Italy at its most elegant. At number 9, we head south to the ancient ruins of Pompeii, one of the most extraordinary archaeological sites on the planet. In 79 AD, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius buried the thriving Roman city of Pompeii under nearly 20 feet of volcanic ash, preserving it in astonishing detail for nearly 2,000 years. Walking through the excavated streets of Pompeii is like stepping directly into the daily life of ancient Rome. The buildings, the frescoes, the mosaics, the public baths, the amphitheater, even the bread ovens, everything is still there, frozen in time. You can see the plaster casts of the people who perished, preserved in the exact positions they were in when the ash engulfed them. It is haunting, humbling, and utterly unforgettable. Pompeii is located just outside Naples and can easily be visited as a day trip from the Amalfi Coast or Rome. Mount Vesuvius still looms above the ruins, a powerful reminder that this is a story that nature has not yet finished telling. Number 8 takes us to one of Italy's most enchanting and colorful destinations, Cinque Terre. This UNESCO World Heritage Site consists of 5 tiny fishing villages, Monterosso, Vernazza, Corniglia, Manarola, and Rio Maggiore, perched on the rugged cliffs of the Italian Riviera along the Ligurian coast. Each village is a cascade of pastel-colored houses tumbling down steep hillsides towards small harbors where fishing boats bob in crystal-clear water. The 5 villages are connected by hiking trails that wind along the cliffs high above the sea, offering some of the most spectacular coastal views in all of Europe. The most famous path connects Rio Maggiore and Manarola, but every trail between the villages rewards you with breathtaking panoramas at every turn. Cinque Terre has no cars. The only way to move between villages is by foot, by train, or by boat, which gives the entire area a peaceful, timeless quality. The seafood is fresh, the pesto is the best in Italy, and the sunsets over the Mediterranean from any of the 5 villages will leave you speechless. At number 7, we arrive at the floating city that has captured the imagination of the world for centuries, Venice. There is nowhere on Earth quite like Venice. Built on over 100 small islands connected by more than 400 bridges and separated by a network of canals, Venice is a city where boats replace cars, and every turn reveals another breathtaking scene. The Grand Canal, Venice's main waterway, is lined with ornate palaces and Gothic facades that reflect off the shimmering water. A gondola ride through the narrower back canals, under ancient stone bridges and past hidden courtyards, is one of the most romantic experiences in all of travel. St. Mark's Square, dominated by the magnificent St. Mark's Basilica with its golden mosaics and Byzantine domes, is the heart of the city. The Rialto Bridge, the Bridge of Sighs, and the Doge's Palace are all within walking distance, and each tells a story of Venice's extraordinary history as one of the greatest maritime powers in the world. Venice is slowly sinking into the lagoon, which makes visiting it now not just a privilege, but a responsibility. See it while it still stands as one of the greatest cities ever built. Halfway through our list at number 6, we experience one of the most breathtaking stretches of coastline on the planet, the Amalfi Coast. Carved into the cliffs along the southern edge of Italy's Sorrentine Peninsula, the Amalfi Coast is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a destination that has defined the meaning of La Dolce Vita for generations. Positano is the star, a cascade of pastel pink, peach and white buildings tumbling steeply down to a small beach lapped by turquoise water. The views from every angle are staggering, and the narrow streets are filled with boutique shops, lemon-scented ceramics, and restaurants serving fresh seafood with views of the sea. Further along the coast, the town of Ravello sits high above the water, famous for its stunning clifftop gardens and panoramic terraces that have inspired artists and musicians for centuries. The town of Amalfi itself offers a magnificent cathedral and a rich maritime history. The winding coastal road that connects these towns, clinging to the cliff face with sheer drops to the sea below, is one of the most scenic drives in the world. The Amalfi Coast is Italy, at its most dramatic and romantic. Number 5 brings us to the rolling hills, golden light and timeless beauty of Tuscany, specifically the medieval hilltop town of Siena. While Florence gets most of the attention, Siena offers something Florence cannot: a perfectly preserved medieval city that feels like it hasn't changed in 700 years. The main square, Piazza del Campo, is one of the most beautiful public spaces in Europe, a shell-shaped plaza surrounded by elegant Gothic palaces that hosts the famous Palio horse race twice each summer, a tradition that dates back to the 1600s. The Siena Cathedral, with its striking black and white marble exterior and richly decorated interior, rivals anything in Florence or Rome. Beyond Siena, the Tuscan countryside unfolds in endless rolling hills covered in vineyards, olive groves, and cypress-lined roads that lead to ancient farmhouses and world-class wineries. The Val d'Orcia region south of Siena is one of the most photographed landscapes in Italy. Golden wheat fields, lone cypress trees, and hilltop villages glowing in the afternoon sun. Tuscany is the soul of Italy. At number 4, we arrive in the birthplace of the Renaissance and one of the most artistically rich cities in the world, Florence. Florence is where Michelangelo carved David, where Botticelli painted the birth of Venus, where Brunelleschi engineered his impossible dome, and where Leonardo da Vinci studied and created. The Uffizi Gallery houses one of the greatest collections of art ever assembled, and the Galleria dell'Accademia is home to the original David, a 17-foot marble masterpiece that leaves every visitor standing in stunned silence. The Florence Cathedral, with its iconic red-tiled dome dominating the skyline, is an engineering marvel that took 140 years to complete. Climbing to the top rewards you with a 360-degree panorama of the city and the Tuscan hills beyond. The Ponte Vecchio, a medieval bridge lined with jewelry shops spanning the Arno River, is one of the most photographed landmarks in Italy. But Florence is more than just museums and monuments. It's a city where you can eat a 2-inch thick Florentine steak, sip Chianti from a local vineyard, and watch the sunset paint the Arno River in shades of gold and amber. Florence is where art and life become the same thing. Number 3 takes us to the island of Sicily, the largest island in the Mediterranean and a destination that feels like an entirely different country within Italy. Sicily sits at the crossroads of civilizations. Greek temples, Roman amphitheaters, Arab Norman palaces, and Baroque churches all coexist on this sun-drenched island, creating a cultural tapestry unlike anywhere else. The Valley of the Temples near Agrigento is one of the most important collections of ancient Greek ruins outside of Greece itself. Mount Etna, Europe's tallest and most active volcano, towers over the eastern coast, and you can hike its lunar-like slopes or take a cable car to the crater rim for views that stretch across the entire island. The coastal city of Taormina, perched on a cliff above the Ionian Sea with Etna as its backdrop, is one of the most beautiful towns in the Mediterranean. And then there's the food. Sicilian cuisine is legendary, from fresh seafood and arancini to cannoli and granita. Sicily is wild, beautiful, and bursting with life. At number 2, we visit the Eternal City, Rome. Rome is not just a city, it is the living, breathing center of Western civilization. For nearly 3,000 years, Rome has shaped the course of human history, and the evidence is everywhere you look. The Colosseum, the largest amphitheater ever built, still stands as a monument to the power and ambition of the Roman Empire. The Roman Forum, once the political heart of the ancient world, spreads out in a maze of ruined temples, arches and basilicas that whisper stories of emperors and gladiators. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world, is home to St. Peter's Basilica, the largest church on earth, and the Sistine Chapel, where Michelangelo's ceiling fresco remains one of the greatest artistic achievements in human history. The Trevi Fountain, the Spanish Steps, the Pantheon, Piazza Navona, every corner of Rome reveals another masterpiece. But Rome is also a city that knows how to live. The trattorias serve carbonara and cacio e pepe that will ruin you for pasta anywhere else. The evening passeggiata, the ritual evening stroll, fills the piazzas with laughter, conversation, and the smell of espresso. Rome is where history and la dolce vita collide, and it's a city you could visit 100 times and never see it all. And the #1 place to visit in Italy, the experience that captures everything magnificent about this country, is the journey itself. Because Italy is not a destination you check off a list. It's a country that reveals itself slowly. One piazza, one plate of pasta, one sunset at a time. The train ride from Rome to Florence as the Tuscan countryside rolls past your window. The ferry crossing from Naples to Capri as the blue grotto shimmers below the cliffs. The moment you round a bend on the Amalfi Coast road and Positano appears, cascading down the mountainside like a waterfall of pastel colors. The first bite of pizza in Naples, where it was invented. The sound of church bells echoing across the rooftops of a village you can't even find on a map. Italy is not one place, it is 1,000 places, each more beautiful than the last, all connected by a culture that has spent centuries perfecting the art of living well. If you visit one country in your lifetime, make it Italy. Italy is a country that has given the world so much: art, architecture, food, music, fashion, and a way of life that the rest of the world has been trying to copy for centuries. From the canals of Venice to the ruins of Rome, from the vineyards of Tuscany to the cliffs of the Amalfi Coast, every corner of Italy offers something extraordinary. If you enjoyed this travel guide, make sure to drop a comment below and tell us, which of these 10 places would you visit first? Until next time, happy travels.